Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe here with Deranged. So back in December, I bought my machine, and about a week or two after buying it, I noticed a few things that I wish I would have seen when I was going through the buying process. A few things that if I would have seen, I might have been able to negotiate a better deal, or would have played a role in me looking for a different machine. With that said, I love this machine. It's been great so far. I've had no issues. I really feel like I made a good decision and got a good deal. But it could have played a part in the buying process. So with that, I wanted to take you through a few things that I think you should look out for when you're purchasing a used UTV. This isn't meant to be a perfect list of exactly what you should do. I'm by no means the biggest authority in this. Just wanted to share with you my experience. And then if you have issues that have came up when you're purchasing a machine, share those in the comments below. With that said, let's get into it. Easy peasy, man. Now, one of the things that got me the most excited about this machine was all the accessories that were on it. The guy put bumper, he put lights all over the place. I got a light down here, I got the light up top, I got these pod lights on the side, I got one in the rear, I got lights on the inside. Tons of accessories on the machine already. So I was super excited that I was not going to have to spend that money. With that said, the one thing I wish I would have taken a look at is the quality of the job that was done when installing these accessories. And I'll show you what I mean. And one thing you might want to do while you're there is the same thing, is open up the hood and take a look and see what's cooking under there. If I would have opened the hood, I would have noticed that there are extra long leads that have been zip tied and put together and hung in different places. Extra long leads to me means somebody did not have the tools or skills necessary to trim wire or cable to the proper length. They bought it at the length that it was and finished it with the length that it was. So it's just a small indicator for me that maybe the guy that wired it before me wasn't skilled real well at wiring. One thing you're not going to be able to do, more than likely anyway, is pull the dash. And the dash is where all your accessories are wired to. So you have all of your switches up in the front that all the wires are leading into. It would be great if you could get a look in there. If I did there, I would have noticed quite a few things. I'll show you what I mean. So here's the bundles of wire that I was telling you about, but it doesn't stop there. Before I get into what's under the dash, I'll just show you. I mean, we've got plenty of leads. These are all grounds that are all ran to the same spot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but nothing is kind of zip tied or cleaned up. It's all kind of a mess as far as the wiring goes. Now let me show you what it looks like under the dash. So it's got a great stereo system in it, which is one of the things that I really kind of liked about it. It's got a kicker amp, it's got some nice speakers in the bottom, it's got a subwoofer, all that kind of stuff. But here is what the wiring job looks like for the stereo system. We've got RCA cables that are about 15 feet too long. We've got accessory wires running in and out of everything. As you can see here, we've got all this stuff bundled up over here. Cables that could have been shortened that aren't shortened. Just all kinds of stuff. If you look back where the switches are all connected back towards the dash, there's black tape and multi-connectors everywhere. So it's just something to keep an eye on. My plan for this machine, with the wiring job that has been done, I'm gonna have to start over basically with each accessory and rewire them one at a time. So I'll take my horn, I'll rewire and start from scratch with my horn. Then I'll move over to my various other accessories. But that's something to look out for when you're buying a machine with a bunch of accessories and other stuff done to it. How good was the work that was put into it when it was done? I have no problem with weekend warriors. I am one myself, right? I like to do anything that I can. I like to do it myself. But you got to do it right. You got to do it clean. You got to make it look well or look good, and you got to know what you're doing and do a good job of it. So, and to me, this is just all kinds of sloppy. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to look at is, are there any major dents or scratches or scrapes anywhere on the machine? So starting with underneath the machine, you want to get down on the ground and look underneath it. See if you can see where they hit a big boulder and it jabbed up and indented the frame. See if there's any major scrapes on the underside of the, or on the skid plates. Another thing to look for is behind the differentials. Does it look like it's been leaking oil, and has that spread into the skid plate and coming out the holes on the skid plate? If there's a leaky diff, you may have an issue there as well. Sometimes that's just related to overfilling and it gets on the skid plate and rolls back, but it could be that there's an issue with the differential. Something to look out for. Now, as far as the body goes, are there scrapes and scratches on the body or cracks in the plastic that would make you think that something's happened? So one thing with my machine that I knew from the beginning is it had been put on its side. You can see it's got a little bit of scratches on the frame right here, and then it's got a little bit of scratches right here on the door as well. So I asked for the story. What happened here with your putting it on its side? And basically with my machine, it came down to getting a little crazy trying to do a Brody on a beach and just laying it over on its side. It wasn't a hard rollover or anything else. And the guy was smart enough to turn the motor off right away and save any issues there. Another thing to look out for is misaligned body panels. So you'll notice on this one, and I didn't notice it when I got it, that there's a bit of a gap there, probably about a finger, a little more than a finger over there on that side. But if I go over to this side and try to put my finger in, it's not close to that. So this, and this one is attributed to when it got put on its side there, right? So this got pushed in a bit. It popped that little connector piece out there. So I was aware of that going in. But that's something to look out for. If you see some misalignment there, then something happened, right? It doesn't come stock like that. Another thing to look out for is cracks. So if you see any cracks, that's something to be aware of as well. So I really only have this crack right here. That's the only piece that cracked on my plastic when it was dumped over or when it was put on its side. But that's something to be aware of. The next thing is just the condition of the plastics in general. So overall, my machine is in really great shape, especially on the side that wasn't put on its side. Just make sure that when you find an issue that you know what happened there. Here's another example on my machine. Right up here, there's a bunch of scrapes where the plastic got all gnarled up. This guy, the story is he let his brother-in-law borrow the machine and he loaded it full of wood and hauled wood through the forest for a couple hours without protecting the bed. So it seemed reasonable enough for me. I'm not sure what else could have happened there. Looks like maybe a dog chewed it, I don't know. All right, last and most importantly, you want to find out how good of a job the person you're buying the machine from did at maintaining the machine. Were they checking the oil regularly? Were they changing the oil or the fluids at the proper times? Or were they changing the air filter on a regular basis? Were they greasing these fittings on the machine to make sure that it's all your bushings stay in good shape? You want to find out as best you can how good of a job they did at maintaining the machine. Did they do it themselves? Did they have service records for when they took it to the dealer? Those are some things that you want to look for. So how can you know if they're doing a good job maintaining the machine if they don't have service records? The first thing you want to look at is your fluids. Pull the dipstick, wipe it on a paper towel and see what it looks like, see what the oil looks like. Check the diff fluid, bring the right tools to pop it out, put your finger in there and see what it looks like. Check the gauge in the middle. It has a service interval set up on it so you can set your service intervals and have a reminder set for when you need to service your machine. Those are a few things you can check. Throughout your machine, you'll notice these fittings right here. These are your grease fittings for connecting a grease gun to. So one of the ways that you can tell that they've been greased or used is if there is buildup of dirt and oil on the outside. If there's not, if it looks clean as a whistle like it does right now after I just polished it, it might be an indicator that they're not greasing the machine, that they're not using those fittings. And one last thing that you'll want to do is pull the cover off the air filter and see what kind of shape the air filter is in. That will give you a good indication of whether or not they're actually changing it on a regular basis. Mine has probably another ride or two left before it's time to change it. But if you pop the cover off and it's covered in dust, or there's a bunch of dust built up on the inside of your filter compartment, then you probably have issues. You probably have a machine that's not real well taken care of. All right, guys, so those are just a few of the lessons that I learned when I bought my machine. If you have some thoughts on what you should look for when you're buying a used UTV, share them in the comments below so the rest of us can get better. With that said, that's it for this one. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe and all that garbage. Until then, we'll see you on the next one.